Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Heavyweights of the Faith, brief biographies of great believers who changed the world.
Gilbert Keith Chesterton, GK, was born in 1874 in London, England. He was educated at St. Paul's, but he never went to college. He did, however, attend art school. In 1900, he was asked to contribute a few magazine articles on art criticism, and went on to become one of the most prolific writers of all time. He wrote 100 books, contributed to 200 more, hundreds of poems, including the epic ballad of White Horse, 5 plays, 5 novels, and some 200 short stories, including a popular series featuring the priest detective Father Brown. In spite of his literary accomplishments, he considered himself primarily a journalist. He wrote over 4,000 newspaper essays, including 30 years' worth of weekly columns for the Illustrated London News, and 13 years of weekly columns for the Daily News. He also edited his own newspaper, GK's Weekly. To put it into perspective, 4,000 essays is the equivalent of writing an essay a day, every day for 11 years. If you're not impressed, try it sometime. But they have to be good essays, all of them, and as funny as they are serious, and as readable and rewarding a century after you've written them. Chesterton was equally at ease with his literary and social criticism, history, politics, economics, philosophy, and theology. His style is unmistakable, always marked by humility, consistency, paradox, wit, and wonder. His writing remains as timely and as timeless today as when it first appeared, even though much of it was published in throwaway papers. This man, who composed such profound and perfect lines as, "The Christian ideal has not been tried and found wanting, it has been found difficult and left untried." He stood 6'4" and weighed about 300 pounds, usually had a cigar in his mouth, walked around wearing a cape and crumpled hat, tiny glasses pinched to the end of his nose, sword stick in hand, laughter blowing through his mustache, and usually had no idea where or when his next appointment was. He did much of his writing in train stations, since he usually missed the train he was supposed to catch. In one famous anecdote, he wired his wife saying, "At Market Harborough, where ought I to be?" His faithful wife Frances attended to all the details of his life, since he continually proved he had no way of doing it himself. He was later assisted by a secretary, Dorothy Collins, who became the couple's surrogate daughter and went on to become the writer's literary executor, continuing to make his work available after his death. This absent-minded, overgrown elf of a man who laughed at his own jokes and amused children at birthday parties by catching buns in his mouth, this was the man who wrote a book called The Everlasting Man, which led a young atheist named C.S. Lewis to become a Christian. Chesterton was one of the deepest thinkers who ever existed. He was deep because he was right, and he could not help being right, but he could not either help being modest and charitable. Chesterton argued eloquently against all the trends that eventually took over the 20th century: materialism, scientific determination, moral relativism, and spineless agnosticism. He also argued against socialism and capitalism, and showed why they have both been the enemies of freedom and justice in modern society. And what did he argue for? What was it that he defended? He defended the common man and common sense. He defended the poor, the family. He defended beauty, and he defended Christianity and the Catholic faith. These don't play well in the classroom, in the media, or the public arena, and that is probably why he is neglected. The modern world prefers writers who are snobs, who have exotic and bizarre ideas, who glorify decadence and scoff at Christianity, who deny the dignity of the poor, and who think freedom means no responsibility. Chesterton is indeed a teacher in the best kind. He doesn't merely astonish you. He doesn't just perform the wonder of making you think. He goes beyond that. He makes you laugh.